Hello everyone and welcome back to The Forge, your place for gaming reviews, news, and content. Today's video is going to be a little bit different as I'm going to examine one of the more interesting series that has come out in the last decade. Don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed this type of video and subscribe to see more reviews and content like this. The Souls series. Known for its punishing difficulty, hard-to-find lore, and terrifying boss battles, this series has always eluded me because I never wanted to take the plunge. The stiff combat always threw me off, just like Monster Hunter, but seeing people play and beat these games in record times with builds and setups that are as imaginative and expansive as the developers who made these games made me want to get back into it. But I recently got a comment on one of my videos asking me to try it out, and I decided to finally try, and here's what I think of this game. Now, I will preface this video by saying I'm definitely not great at these games, and this is a fully blind experience as a new player coming into it for the first time. I wrote down these thoughts as I was playing through the game on the PC remastered version, so I won't be discussing the technical aspects of the original, just the main gameplay and thoughts here. So without further ado, let's get right into it. This game has a really beautiful opening cutscene that starts off the lore by telling you how the world came to be in this age of fire, with dragons having been cut down by a traitor of their own, and a band of exceptionally powerful individuals, namely Gwyn with his lightning bolts, the Witches of Izalith and their fire spells, and the Gravelord Nito, just doing skeleton things. The lore in these games are vast and expansive, but it's up to you to find it. This beginning cutscene is just about the only thing that is explicitly laid out for you. I'm always a sucker for lore, and I spent a lot of time combing through my items to find more bits and pieces, just to try to find and make more sense of it. But after this scene, you awaken as an undead, sentenced to a life of exile in the undead asylum, at least until a helpful knight drops down some help and you can get out of your cell. The game goes through tutorial messages that are written down on the ground, but these can be entirely missed, so if you know what you're doing, you're not bogged down by a tutorial right at the beginning. Perfect for replays. It goes through basic combat steps, and after you light your first bonfire, you enter a giant room, with your character heaving the heavy door open with all their strength. You come face to face with the first boss, the Asylum Demon, and you're not expected to win. I struggled to find the door out of the arena because of how huge the monster was, and I was tossed around the room like a ragdoll, but once I found it, the door shuts behind you and you continue your way through the asylum. And I think this perfectly encapsulates what makes these games so memorable to so many people. You can try to fight this massive behemoth if you want, with only the broken blade from earlier, or you can continue on and find more equipment to aid you in your endeavor. I picked a thief because I always like those types of classes in RPGs, but as my Twitch stream pointed out, it doesn't really matter what class you pick. Your knight in shining armor can become a wand-wielding archmage, or your hunter with bow drawn can become a tanky cleric in full armor. It's up to you how you level your character, picking their weapons and equipment and completely making it your character. To have this kind of freedom in a game from just a decade ago just shows how much games have come in this last decade. But let's dial back to that in a minute, because I want to talk about the quote-unquote clunky combat. Now, it definitely feels different than other action games, but this is due to the reason that most of your attacks are locked into their animation once the action is pressed. If you do a heavy attack, you better hope your timing was correct and you don't get skewered trying to get in more damage. You have to learn the ebb and flow of combat, and each enemy is different. While some come at you like mindless zombies, most of the enemies are more than capable of downing you in just 1 or 2 hits. You have to not just attack, but actually watch what these enemies do, how they attack, from what angles, and you have to fit in your attacks when their guard is down. It makes you feel like every combat is satisfying. You can't just mash buttons to victory here. All of the enemies are here to survive and eliminate anything in their way, and they don't hesitate to stomp, cleave, and cut through you to do it. Even that asylum boss at the beginning does not put up with people just standing there at the top. You're supposed to lunge off the cliff right into it, but you can watch this clip to see what I did.
Oh, that does a lot of damage. It's locked. I thought he gave me the key. He lied to me. He didn't give me a key. Oh. What's this? Hi there. What you doing? Are you just, gonna look at me? Oh God! Didn't think you would drop.
All of this together makes Dark Souls into a game where what you put into it is what you get out of it. If you don't want to learn the enemy movements and experiment with different weaknesses, then you're going to have a terrible time, and the difficulty will seem unfair. But taking your time with this game makes it all the more rewarding, and that's where I enjoyed it the most. From having the Taurus demon fall off his bridge, making my time a lot easier.
Okay, we got no more health potions. Oh, why'd you kick him? You can't kick him off. Oh! Oh! He can fall off the bridge? What?
To struggling 10 to 15 times with Havel in the basement of that same tower.
Oh, come on. Oh! That's a backstab. Come on!
Sometimes I didn't have fun, and I had to take a break. But going through the game, I never actually thought it was unfair. Each action is a deliberate choice, and you know exactly when you made the wrong one. Overall, I really enjoyed my time with this game, but what really sets this game and the additional entries later is how its influence has spread to numerous other titles and genres in the gaming industry. Dark Souls has had a massive impact on the gaming industry in the last decade, and it shows up in multiple other genres and titles. Whenever something is too hard, people are quick to compare it to this game, just as Crysis was compared to anything with good graphics. It's a tradition in this industry to compare newer games to the masterpieces of old, and even 10 years later, people love these Soulsborne games. From indie games like Salt and Sanctuary to even AAA titles like Nioh and Sekiro. People have based an entire genre around making sure players slow down their actions, think about what they're doing, and if they don't, punishing them with brutal enemies that will kill you on the spot. The series started to show developers that people don't mind challenges. They revel in them and want to succeed at those challenges as long as they're well designed. The community is also an everlasting aspect about these games, almost like a club that people always wants to either constantly one-up each other or help newer players out. I experienced this firsthand on my stream, with plenty of lurkers asking questions what I was doing, as if I felt like I was doing something wrong. They never gave spoilers, they genuinely want to see you succeed, and with a lot of people logging over hundreds of hours into these games, I appreciated the help. Even after I was done with the game, seeing how passionate these fans are on forums and on Reddit, it shows how dedicated these people are, and if you just ask for help, they're very friendly to give it. I wanted to end this video by saying I really enjoyed my time playing through these various games. With my work schedule, I was only able to get footage of me playing through the first one, but playing through the other games brought me to the same conclusions. I appreciated the work that each other game took to improve upon the previous one. And while I might not be the best player at these games, I found it extremely rewarding to play through and figure out each area piece by piece. The worlds of these games are expansive and beautiful, and when I took too much time looking at them, something just decided to stomp me into the ground. I hope my experiences bring some more players into these games and shows people you don't have to instantly get good to have an enjoyable experience. And with all that being said, my first retrospective is complete. Don't forget to leave a like and comment with your thoughts on the series, and I'll see you again on the next video for The Forge. See ya!